Yo, I'm Yovan Buha, Lakers beat writer for The Athletic, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another Lakers post-game reaction. I just got back to my hotel from the Footprint Center, where the Lakers just lost 123-113 to the Phoenix Suns. That wraps up the season series between these two teams. LA wins the season series 3-2. They played 5 games because of the end-season tournament. And I want to quickly rattle off some numbers here. LeBron had 28, 7, and 12. AD had 22, 14, 3 steals and 2 blocks. Did have a quiet first half with 4 points and 5 rebounds in the first half. D'Lo had 20 and 7, though he was also a bit quiet in the fourth quarter. And the big talking point from the Lakers after the game was the free throw disparity. They were outshot 19-8 at the free throw line. 8 free throws was a season low for them. They were very frustrated with the officiating during this game. For those who watched it, you could just tell by the body language. You could tell by the way they were reacting to stuff. It felt like that third quarter, beginning to middle part of the third quarter, dragged on for like 30 minutes with Lakers had a review, then there was a clear path review, then the Suns had a review, and there was a lot of reviews in this game. It took way too long, but Lakers were very frustrated. Different guys had different things to say about it. Like D'Lo didn't want to touch the subject. Darvin Ham was a little bit careful, but LeBron and AD were just came out and said, "This is our identity. This is our DNA. We live at the rim. We live at the free throw line. Like guys use that to get into rhythm, to just get our offense going." And when we are getting to the rim, and the Lakers still outscored Phoenix 52-40 in the paint, which shows you just right there that's 26 made field goals in the paint for the Lakers versus 20 for the Suns. And maybe the Suns number was a little bit lower just because they got to the free throw line a little bit more. But the Lakers were frustrated, and I think where I come with it, I do think there were certain calls that there's always calls that the officials get wrong. I don't think it was a well officiated game. I think the Lakers had some legitimate gripes with it. At the same time, I don't think you can base your game plan and your offense around just getting to the free throw line. And there are going to be some of those things are going to go away in the playoffs where refs let you play more physically, and just some of those advantages aren't necessarily there. So I think for the Lakers, this could be a learning lesson moving forward in terms of, how do we generate offense at a high level when we're not getting to the free throw line, when we're not winning the free throw battle. And this is, to me, could be something to learn from of just, when we're in this scenario, how can we be better? Because you can't control. I thought D'Lo actually, he didn't really want to touch the ref conversation, but he did mention that he was kind of in a self-deprecating way saying he doesn't shoot free throws, he doesn't get to the free throw line, that's not his game. But he was saying he tells the refs, I don't need you to give me calls because that's not what I'm trying to do. And I think there is something to that for the Lakers of if you are relying on the refs to run your offense. And LeBron also kind of got into the narrative of all the Lakers do is shoot free throws. And, he mentioned that that's their style of offense, that they have guys who like to attack the rim, who put pressure on the rim, who are physical. And that is just part of what makes this team who they are, is they are, going to get you into foul trouble, and they are going to use that as an advantage. And Darvin Ham did mention that the Lakers go into every game trying to win the free throw battle, and that is something that is important to them. They practice not fouling, and they practice trying to draw fouls. So I think, I get the general frustration from the Lakers, but I don't think this is why they lost the game. I think it was part of it. I think there were several reasons, and we're going to get into it right now. So I want to do a little bit more structure with this post-game reaction show. I want to start breaking it up into 3 things in kind of, I like my opening monologue, but then I want to get into 3 observations, 3 things. I'm still working on the branding of it. But number 1 for me was the defensive game plan. And this is something we've seen from the Lakers, really all season. And their goal is to take away the head of the snake. And in this instance, it was Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And I think overall they did a solid job. They held KD to 7 of 20 shooting. Devin Booker shot 8 of 18, though Booker had 9 assists, KD had 7. But the Lakers, and part of it too was with the current available personnel, not having Cam Reddish, not having Jared Vanderbilt, not even having a guy like Christian Wood, who has had some good defensive moments against the Suns in this particular season series, but also a really good defensive rebounder. The Lakers were keying in on, essentially, like, we don't trust our guys one-on-one, be it Rui or Austin, LeBron in certain situations, but even, Torian, Spencer, like, we don't trust these guys one-on-one against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. So we are going to sell out and trap and double and shade over, send a lot of attention at them, turn them into playmakers, hopefully turn them over, and make the other guys on the Suns beat them. And I think the Lakers were effective in that strategy to an extent. Again, both guys had inefficient nights. Both guys, were held, I think, let's see here. I think they both had 22 or under points. So it was like, overall, you got that done. But the problem is all the stuff that comes with that. So now you have Royce O'Neal hitting 6 threes. And by the way, as a quick aside, Royce O'Neal is a much better player than Taurean Prince. And I'm not sure if the Lakers could have gotten Royce O'Neal, but just kind of watching the impact that those two guys had. Like, Royce is the better shooter, better defender, but much better rebounder. I think he had 7 rebounds. Even a better playmaker, had 4 assists. Like, it's just, those two. I saw some people talking around the time of, that the Phoenix trade and me reporting that, the Lakers weren't interested in trading Torian, and Darvin pushed back against it. But, like, I know it's one game, but just the impact that he had compared to Torian's average impact, like, Royce is a much better player. And I think if there was a way for the Lakers to have gotten him, like, that's a mistake. And I don't know that. I had heard that the price that Brooklyn was asking for was higher than what Phoenix ultimately gave up. So, if that's true, then maybe it wasn't worth getting a guy like Royce. But to me, like, I mean, just he was the X factor tonight, or today rather. Grayson Allen also had 6 threes. And then the Suns just killed the Lakers on the offensive glass. And part of this was Yusuf Nurkic outplayed Anthony Davis for a solid portion of this game. I would say at least the first half, and even portions of the second half. But Nurkic had a monster game, and AD had a very quiet first half, 4 points, 5 rebounds. But I have it here, 14 offensive rebounds for the Suns. They outscored the Lakers 22-10 in second chance points. The Suns ultimately got had 3 more shot attempts, but then you factor in the 11 additional free throws that they took compared to the Lakers, and that's the game basically right there. They hit 2 more threes, got to the free throw line a lot more, just were more, had more possessions and shots in general. And sometimes it can be a bit reductive to view basketball that way, but if you're going to be taking 3 more shots and 11 more free throws and making more threes, like, that's the game. That's how the Suns won this game. And again, the free throws are a part of that, but I don't think, even if the Lakers attempted 10 more free throws, like, yes, this is a closer game, but I don't think they necessarily won this game. And I think the Lakers, it's tough because, again, given the current personnel, I understand some of the strategy in that they're concerned with Austin Reeves having to guard Devin Booker one-on-one. They're concerned with Rui Hachimura having to guard Kevin Durant one-on-one. But I almost think that they kind of create these other trickle-down problems where now, again, you're allowing role players. You're selling out on Royce O'Neal. You're selling out on Grayson Allen. Those guys are getting hot. They're getting confident now. Maybe they're pump faking and driving and getting to the rim and dishing to someone or a kick out pass, or they're getting an offensive rebound. And, like, I think there's a trickle down effect of when those guys get confident and get into a rhythm and a flow. like you see, it's not just they're hitting threes; they're doing other things, and it's unlocking their complete package. Nurkic was huge on the offensive glass, and again, outplayed AD for big portions of this game, and part of the offensive rebounding, it was Nurkic winning those one-on-one battles with Anthony Davis, but it was also Nurkic winning one-on-one battles against Laker guards and forwards because AD had to rotate out, or he was trapping or doubling, or he was showing high, and Nurkic was slipping through and getting dunks and layups. So I think the Lakers sometimes, like, I think it. And they did adjust where they stopped being as aggressive with some of the tactics that they had in the first quarter and in the first half. But again, like we've seen it time and time again, where the worst defense, or the worst version of this defense rather, is the group that's just late on rotations, giving up offensive rebounds and fouling and just undisciplined miscommunication. And we saw that far too often. Phoenix had 45 points, which is in the first quarter, the most the Lakers have given up in a first quarter all season. That was one of their worst quarters of the season and their worst quarter in weeks. I can't remember the last time they had a quarter like that. But to me, it comes down to the defensive game plan and strategy. And again, I'm not even necessarily knocking Darvin or the coaching staff in the way they approach this game. I do think there could be a way to adjust a little bit quicker in terms of once you see the strategy isn't necessarily working, or it's working, but it's having an unintended consequence that is having a trickle-down effect throughout the game, like you do adjust. And if Kevin Durant's going to hit 20 mid-range jumpers over Rui Hachimura or Taurean Prince, then like so be it. If Devin Booker is going to do that to Austin Reeves, like so be it. Like I think sometimes the Lakers are more afraid of the primary guy going off, and like we haven't seen a Luka dropping 73 on the Lakers or that type of performance this season, because Anthony. I mean, one, because of the Lakers' defensive strategy and approach, but two, like you have Anthony Davis, you have one healthy Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, who I'm about to get to, and LeBron when he's engaged, and like you have quality size and athleticism and perimeter defense when healthy overall. Now it does come with some downside, and I was talking to some people with the Suns before the game, and they were like, we secretly wish Jared Vanderbilt and Cam Reddish were playing, just because those are two guys we will completely ignore and cheat off of. So like there's a downside to playing those guys, and I've covered that before. But in terms of like one-on-one perimeter defense, the Lakers have guys when healthy. And so again, like that was a factor, that the health, not having some of those elite perimeter defenders. But like I think ultimately the Lakers game plan, while I understood it, I think it led to the role players getting hot. The Suns almost had, it was funny because Nurkic got off to a crazy hot start and he finished with 18 points, but they almost recreate, like we just had the Lakers starters, all have 20 points against the Pistons before the All-Star break. And the Suns almost just recreated that a couple weeks later with all five starters had 18 or more points. Nurkic was the one guy. Four of the five had 20 or more. Nurkic was the one guy at 18, so he almost got there. And Nurkic, I said Royce O'Neal was the X factor. You could put Nurkic there too, just because he had been pretty bad in some of the previous matchups against the Lakers, like fumbling passes, missing layups, missing free throws. And I thought tonight, move the ball well from the elbows, dribble handoffs, screening, slipping, finishing, offensive rebounds, bodying AD, was patient with his finishing. Like Yusuf Nurkic had a great game. Point number two, or thing number two, is rotation. And Lakers basically played 7 guys. I tweeted this before the game, but they only had 9 roster players available because Jalen Hood-Schifino and Maxwell Lewis were with the South Bay Lakers. And then you had Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt. Right, his name always gives me problems for some reason. And then Gabe Vincent, all out. So you had 6 of your 15 roster players, and then Colin Castleton, they just announced, has a fractured wrist. He's going to be reevaluated in a couple weeks. So you also had Dylan Windler and Skylar Mays, but you had 11 players to play. 2 of them weren't going to play realistically. So you had a 9-man rotation. And Lakers played 7 guys. The 7 were the starters, plus Spencer Dinwiddie and Taurean Prince. And then Jackson Hayes played 5 minutes, and Max Christie played 5 minutes. Jackson actually ended up playing 6 because of garbage time. But to me, I didn't understand the strategy. So the one thing I noted on Twitter was the Lakers do have 2 days off. They play next on Wednesday against the Clippers. And that's a back-to-back, but you have a couple days off. This was an early game as well, technically a 12:30 Pacific time start. So you have 2.5 days basically until the next game. So the Lakers played heavier minutes, like LeBron played 37, AD played 42, Austin was 35, D'Lo I think was 37. So like the principal guys all played 35 plus minutes, and then the rest of the supporting cast was like 26 plus. I think Dinwiddie was like 24. But to me, like Max and Jackson, I just didn't understand why they didn't play as much. Like, yes, AD, you needed his rim protection. You needed his defense. This was not a great matchup for Jackson against Nurkic, but I think there was a way to and they got, to be fair, like they got killed. I think they were minus 10 in the Jackson minutes. So like they did lose those minutes pretty handedly, but I felt that Jackson could have at least played like 8 to 10 minutes and played against Drew Eubanks. And just like when Drew Eubanks is out there, he can play. When it's Nurkic, okay, pull him out. You don't want him to get manhandled in the paint. Like that's fine. But I thought he could have, especially with the way that AD started the game, and AD got in early foul trouble. That was another thing I should have mentioned. It was actually funny because his second foul I thought was on Taurean Prince, and Spencer Dinwiddie like ran up to Taurean Prince to raise his hand, and Taurean did it a little late, but they had already called it on AD. But like, so AD got in foul trouble, which should affect things. But to me, like Jackson could have played a little bit more, and Max should have played a lot more. And I don't get why he didn't play. Like, so he comes back. The Warriors game, he plays 29 minutes. The Spurs game, he plays 13. My guess was second night of a back-to-back. He just came back from an injury. Lakers want to be careful, be cautious with him. We've seen them take that approach with guys coming back from injuries. Like, okay, like the Spurs game, it was in hand for the most part. So like whatever, 13 minutes. But for him to play 5 minutes tonight, and really it was less because it was 4 rotation minutes before the end of the game. Like I didn't understand it. And like Max, I think is played like his mistakes are sometimes a little bit louder because he is young, and he'll miss a wide open shot badly, or he'll pick up a dumb foul, or just make like a mistake where it stands out. But to me, I just like he's such a disciplined, fundamental defender, and he's such a good rebounder. He, like, if you're looking at the available guards and perimeter players really that the Lakers had, he's a better rebounder than D'Lo. He's a better rebounder than Austin Reeves. He's a better rebounder than Taurean Prince. He's a better rebounder than Spencer Dinwiddie. Honestly, likely a better rebounder than Rui. I know Rui's like a bigger body, but I just think Max, and you saw him come in and immediately have an impact. Lakers are +2 in his 4 minutes, but he comes in, gets a semi-open 3 that Kevin Durant blocks, and then the next play comes back, pump fakes, drives, bounce pass to AD for a dunk, hits a corner 3 on the next possession, and it was like Max just came in and did stuff, and he's athletic, he plays with energy, he's always engaged, and again, just the rebounding was such an issue that, like, to me, like he's not a worse defender. Like, even if I know Max is a very divisive player for whatever reason, but he's not worse defensively than Taurean Prince, and he's not worse defensively than Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, you can say there's a gap between him and Vando, which I agree with. There's a gap between him and Cam, which I agree with, though I think the gap is smaller than people think. But even if you want to say that, like, I mean, those two guys just weren't available. But compared to the rest of who the Lakers had, like, I don't like. put him on Devin Booker. And even when he was out there, it was like he got put on Bol. And, Torian is like, I didn't, specifically the Torian piece. Like, I just thought he did hit a couple threes in the second quarter. But to me, like, Max, I think has quietly been outplaying Torian for weeks now. I think he's the better defender. He's the better rebounder. His shooting numbers aren't that far off. Like Torian is a little bit more of a high volume shooter, but Max's catch and shoot percentages are actually better. So I didn't understand the only playing 7 guys and then not playing your more athletic, energetic guys in Jackson and Max. And like Spencer's really struggling. He's, to me, looks like a guy who's not as comfortable playing off the ball. That's an adjustment for him. It's only been a few games, so like I will give him that leeway. Torian, though, like, I mean, he's not rebounding. I thought he had some solid, like he executed the game plan in terms of like funneling Devin Booker and Kevin Durant into certain spots. He did a solid job just like staying in front of them, but he's not like this disruptive game changer defensively. And I don't really, he's not a good point of attack defender anyways. So like, I just didn't get the Torian and Spencer over Max. Like I think those minutes should have been closer to even. Max, to me, like this is a game he should have played 15 minutes. And again, with his strengths of just doesn't need the ball ever, is completely an off-ball catch and shoot guy, and then a really good rebounder on both ends for his size and for his skill, like his position. I just didn't get it. Last one, and this one's quick. So the Lakers fell to 10th momentarily after this game. I'm looking it up right now. Denver beat Golden State, so the Lakers are gonna be they're back to 9th now. But this is a critical stretch upcoming here. So next 9 games at the Clippers, then they have this giant homestand of 5 games. Home versus Washington, home versus Denver, home versus Sacramento, home versus Milwaukee, home versus Minnesota, then at Sacramento, and then home versus Golden State. So looking at those next 9 games, they do not leave California for those 9 games. They're home for, that's 8 games. My math is off. But those 8 games, they don't leave California. And, the Clippers road game is kind of a home game for the Lakers. They're going to have a lot of fans there. It's going to be a loud, rowdy environment. But they got that 5-game homestand. At Sacramento is always a tough game for them because of the matchup. But like still, it's a 1-hour flight, and then home Golden State. That's another big one given where those two teams are in the standings. But I mean, this is a critical stretch for the Lakers over these next 8 games. I feel like I'm missing a game. Let me look quickly. I feel like there's another. Yes. Okay. OKC. That's the one I'd missed. So it's a 6-game homestand. So versus OKC in between, versus Denver, versus OKC, versus Sacramento. So, I mean, that's another tough game. But those 9 games, so 9 games, you don't leave California. 7 of them are at home. But I mean, Denver, OKC, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Golden State, those are all tough home games. Really, the only easy game in this is home versus Washington. So like the Lakers, if you take out that one, let's just say they're going to win that one. You got 8 games, 6 at home, 2 on the road, that you have to at least split at a minimum, but ideally go like 5-3. And that would put you at 6-3 over the next 9. But like that's the territory they're in right now, where it's really every game is a must win. Every game is critical. There are no throwaway games. There are no throwaway performances. And that's why I think today's performance was so disappointing. It was just them coming out and laying an egg like that in the first quarter, and then having to try and play a perfect basketball game to make up for it. So this was just to kind of lay out the schedule moving forward of like these next 9 games, including this Phoenix one, technically making it 10. Like those are all 9 of the 10 are pretty tough. The start of the first one, 0-1. We know this team has struggled much more on the road than at home. So I think they can win. Like Denver's a tough one, and they got to conquer that demon. OKC, they've already beaten a couple times. Sacramento is a tough one given the matchup, but they should be able to win, especially with Sacramento not playing as well. Milwaukee's a wild card. I mean, they're a really good team, but you don't know night to night which team's showing up. Minnesota, Lakers have played them tough, have had a couple close losses. And then Golden State's another one where they play them 2 more times, and like both of those games could determine the 9-10 matchup, or if one of those teams ascends to like 7 or 8. So critical stretch coming up here for the Lakers. They're 1-2 since the All-Star break. The defense, again, I mentioned it last show, I've been pretty concerned with. Part of that's personnel, part of that is strategy. And the offense was okay today. Again, like didn't get to the free throw line enough. Could have generated, in my opinion, some more threes. But overall, like I thought the starters played pretty well. It was really the rebounding and the defense for me. But that's going to do it. I'm actually going to be doing a live stream tonight. So depending on when you watch this, it will be at 7:30 Pacific time. So if you're watching this before then, be sure to tune in. If you're watching it during it, then tune in after. And if you're watching it after, then check out that live stream. Doing my second one, so pretty excited about that. We'll also be doing it on StreamYard. So I'm going to be posting the comments, and it's going to be make it a little bit more interactive. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you in about 30 minutes, and then again tomorrow. So talk to you soon.